So now what we're going to do is we are going to add in some of these additional details. Let me go ahead and lock down a couple of these layers. Go ahead and add another layer. And I'm going to create a blank keyframe. To this, I'm going to add in a background layout level, and I'm simply going to draw in the pieces that are required for that. That's going to be this chair. I'm going to put a little caddy corner. Add in this back to the seat. And most importantly, I'm going to add in where he's going to lean. So I'll build it here temporarily. And I'll use the V key, V as in victory, to grab all of that and convert that to a group. I'm right clicking here to get this, and might as well make that a symbol while I'm doing it. Call that desk, and make that a graphic. And the symbol allows me to move this around. It also allows me to add in a little function here that I like, which is the rotation, to let you kind of move that around. I'm just going to slide this up in front of him, and I'm going to extend it out a little bit so that it gives him room to lean on and put his pencil down. Kind of a classic bored kid pose. I'm going to go in here and knock these back to just being see-through layout components where they're just turned into outlines. That kind of saves my sanity. Anything that saves my sanity is a good thing, right, folks? Yeah, we want to save our sanity for this process. So we have kind of this nice little ghost laying in here. The chair is really important to me as a character layout artist, but the other things like this other kid is sort of extraneous. I wouldn't worry about that for this point of the game. All this stuff in the background, this isn't really that important to us. So you can see again that this is a real kind of panel that shows you all of the information. This is where we've thought it out. This is where we start making it look better, because every step, like we said previously, we want to improve, energize, and add life. The power center of this kid, right? The idea of power center is something that those of you who haven't done animation previously, you won't be familiar with. So we're going to talk about that briefly. But the power center is where the character leads from. So the idea is kind of like, okay, when this character decides to talk or something, is this a character who maybe has like a really big mouth, so they're going to speak from their mouth, or maybe this is something where the character is kind of really bold, so they're going to lead from their chest. In the case of this kid, I think I'm going to put the power center up here in the eyes. Now Bart Simpson, I think his power center is more or less kind of the front of his face because he leans forward. Homer Simpson, his is more in his stomach. Character like the genie from Aladdin, his is in his kind of in his chin. So we'll just say that that's going to be the power center for now. That's going to kind of give me an idea of where the indication of movement and such is going to be on him. Go ahead and insert a blank keyframe on this layer. And I'm going to lock these previous layers down. Power center is going to kind of remain inert for a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit to get the next stage, which is to get the lean of this kid going forward. So you're probably pretty aware already that there's a strong sense of weight being conveyed down here in the bottom where he's sitting. But what might not be as evident is the weight of his head on his hand. Now, previously, when we looked at this in the other thing, this worked pretty good. We get the idea there's knuckles here. Maybe he's scratching his nose. I don't know, He's clearly doing something with his hand there. I think I need to clarify that a little bit. So I'm going to draw a hand grabbing onto the side of his face. And I may or may not change that later on, but you can see that there's a world of difference between this kind of storyboarded doodle of that hand being there and this more structural analysis that I'm doing, where this is almost like a clamp. You know, a clamp grabbing up and onto his face, and you can really feel that side of his face resting down and into it. I really want you to pay attention to kind of the way this is happening, because weight is so critical to animation. Weight is so important to conveying a sense of the actual physicality of things. So this weight is going to be transferred down here and into his elbow. And you've done this in figure drawing class, but once you learn this for animation, you'll be able to do this much better in figure drawing class, where you're able to really give a sensation of weight being pushed down and into the elbow and into this table. And some of that weight is going to transfer out through this arm and into the shoulder. But you can really feel the solidity of that arm. So this concept that we're dealing with now is weight. Weight into the arm, weight into the body. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is how you draw him using his pencil. So I'm going to make another layer, and this layer I am going to create a blank keyframe there. Going to change the color up a little bit so you can see this. Probably going to use this green. And I'll go ahead and draw in kind of the pencil. And to this pencil, we'll zoom in so you can really see what I'm about to do. Switch the color up. Gonna make that see-through so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm gonna draw him actually holding on to that pencil with that finger. Have that pencil resting against those knuckles. You see, this is really being really intently drawn. This just goes back to the notion that we have to improve upon every step as we do it. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit. And just like the weight of the elbow, I'm going to go down and figure out where this pencil is touching the surface. We can clean up this hand too while we're at it. You see with this finger, I've given this kind of a bit of an indication. This is more of a classical Disney sort of hand than, say, a Simpsons or Family Guy hand. You wouldn't normally go quite this detailed on those characters. But we're going to kind of make these fingers a little less regular in their positioning. See, I kind of moved around where the knuckles are. I might even raise this knuckle up a little more. And you can see that hand really has more of a feeling of weight coming down into the fleshy portion of it. You may or may not want to do this with your hands. Anime is always going to want to do that with the hands. So when we've gotten into this, at this point, we've moved past weight. We've moved into not detail, but a desire to show variation of forms. Again, that's more of a Disney term than a Family Guy or, say, Simpsons term, where we're going to want to simplify and make those fingers look the same. But variation in the fingers is really critical. All right, we'll end this video here.